Welcome. In this segment, we are going to talk about how you can import and export image of your own or the image that's in Google Earth Engine. Let's get right to it. In this script, I have established an example to show you how you can import and export. This script is actually this one here. So in the beginning, there are various scripts that shows you the import of the Landsat image, as you see for on line 8. And I've already extracted the image ID, and as you can see, the Landsat code here, what I'm highlighting here is what the Landsat image ID is. And I selected the band 4, band 3, band 2, that's on line 9, and that's the 3 different bands that I am highlighting there to import into this particular script. And once we import this image, we generate a geometry. And this geometry will eventually help us to export this image based on this geometry. Obviously, if you have a large image, you can trim it down by clipping ahead of time. But here, I just save a step to actually clip the image before, and at the export step, you can clip the image right there as well. So the actual image export step happens at step on line 15, where you see the export image to drive function that I used there. So in terms of exporting to the outside of Google Earth Engine, there are multiple options. If you have a Google Drive account, this is the way to go. And if you can export to the Google Cloud, if you have an account there, you can also do that as well. And moving on to the different parameters inside of this function, as we can see here, on line 16 to 19, we have the image ID, which is the Landsat. And this is what corresponding to exactly what we have described on line 8, which we named our image as Landsat. And line 17, that is where we described this job of exporting our image. And we call this job as image to drive example. We can also specify the scale of the image that we wanted to export out of. So here, Landsat is all 30 meter pixels size. So on 18, we specify as 30. And we don't need to specify the unit here. It's automatically taking as meters. For line 19 is where we clip our image using the geometry we have just established on line 12. And this is the geometry that we use to export and also clip our image to outside of Google Earth Engine. So from line 20 above, I just talked about this highlighted region. That's how you can export a single image. And in the line below, on line 24 to 36, that is how we can export a vector data. As I mentioned before in previous videos, there are 2 different data sets that you can use in Google Earth Engine. One is rasters, which are images, and then the other is vectors. And here, in this example, I constructed a feature layer that consists of 3 different points that are located in different areas on a map. And these are the 3 different points on line 26, 27, and 29. These are the different geometric locations on a map that I wanted to construct into a feature layer. And in this vector feature layer, we call it features, as I highlighted here on line 25. So what if we want to export this feature layer of 3 different points? On line 32 is exactly how we do it. So exporting vector is simpler than the exporting image in Google Earth Engine. 32, I began with export.table to drive. So again, this is very similar to before as we used for exporting to image. But in this case, we export to the drive. And again, if you have a Google Cloud account, you can also export to Google Cloud as well. And similarly, we have the collection name, which is features. And this corresponds to line 25, how we named this vector. On line 34 is how we describe this vector exporting job, and we named it as vectors to drive example. And then finally, on line 35 is how we discuss or how we describe the format that we want this image, this vector layer to be exported out of. And this file format we use is KML file, and there are other file formats that you can use to export vector layers, such as shape files or KMZ files or CSV files as well. So it accommodates a variety of different file formats that you want to export to. And just to show you how this looks like once we execute this code, let's just hit run and then we'll see how the result looks like. So once we hit run on the top here, you will see the image jobs or the exporting jobs for the image and vector layer are shown clearly under the tasks region. And these are the tasks that we just explained earlier. So image to drive example corresponds to line 15 to 20 example. And right now, the exporting jobs has not been started because we have not hit this run button to the right of the task. So if we want to start that, we just hit run, and then a image task description will pop up. And in here, we can see the task name as we described earlier, and the scale we described as well as which folder you want to export to in your Google Drive, as well as the file name we named the file as. So as I mentioned earlier, you can also export to cloud storage. This is the image, the Google Cloud account if you have one. And the third option is to export to Google Earth Engine assets. I will mention very briefly in a few minutes where this is. And so those are the 3 different options. And if we want to export right away, you just hit run there. And now you will see right next to the job icon, there is a gear of Google Earth Engine that's spinning. That means the exporting job is starting, and also the time that spent to complete this task that is currently spent is about 12 seconds so far. If we want to see the detail of this task, we can click on this question mark. And then if we zoom out and see, in the panel, you will see the status, the detail status of this image export details in terms of how far it has been going and what is the source script that is showing there. So if I click this, it will take me right to the source script that we have just shown there, which is P4. So it will just show me the script that you're seeing. So now this is done, and you are seeing this live as it just completed the job. And this task will turn from the gray color to a blue color, and that means everything's fine and you are good to go. And sometime if you make some mistake, it will turn into a red color, which means it didn't finish and something went wrong, and that would be the time to troubleshoot. So there you have basically how you can export image and a vector layer. And in the next steps, I will tell you how you can import data into Google Earth Engine. And no matter if it's an image or a vector or a series image. Let's get right to that. So as you can see, obviously there are a lot of texts here, and I'm not going to go through them. I'm basically going to talk about it and navigating you throughout the Google Earth Engine. So first we'll talk about how you can import images. There are multiple ways you can import image, and we'll show you first one is inside Google Earth Engine, this panel you're looking at. So first is the Assets tab. Under the Assets tab, when I click it, it will show me a variety of data, whether it's image or vector, I have uploaded previously into Google Earth Engine for me to use. And one very clear button you see there is the red New button. And this is the first step of no matter if it's image or vector, you want to upload it, you can click on that. And it will show you a drop-down menu as you see there. And inside this drop-down menu, there are a variety of different file formats Google Earth Engine takes to store as image or vectors. So for example, if I want to upload an image, Google Earth Engine will take as GeoTIFF there. And then once you click that, it will take you to different steps, and then you can upload your single image there. And same thing goes for shape files as well as CSV files. These are how you can upload. And this is the first option, you can upload data into Google Earth Engine. Once you upload this data, your data should be able to show up down below as what you see. All these are the variety of data sets I have uploaded over the years. And if I want to see a detail of that data set, I can just simply click on that data set, and it will bring up all the details that's associated with this particular, in this case, is an image that I am looking at. So these are the variety of details, as well as if I want to import this data set into my current script to use it, I can click the import right down below there where my mouse is, and I click that. The image will be imported automatically into my script. So you see on the top there, the image is being already imported into the script for me to use later on. One thing I mentioned before is be careful with quotas in Google Earth Engine. And one way you can check that is to go back to the Assets tab. And when you hover over your username, just like where my mouse is right now, you can click this icon, which is the quota usage. And then you will see a window opens up. And in this window, you will see how much file size you are assigned to. And also it constrains how many data sets you can store on this asset place. So this is basically how you can know if you run out of your storage space, and be careful with that one as well. Another way of uploading the images is through the command space. So by command space, I mean the computer internal terminal, and some coding is required, and this is very extensive coding. So I'm not going to go exactly how you can do it. There are examples on the Google Earth Engine tutorial. You can definitely check it out to see how you can do that. And that's particularly designed for if you have a ton of images, you don't want to click that image import button every single time you want to import like 1,000 image. And obviously the command line way of doing that is the way to do it. So I have also included the descriptions of the detailed importing steps, which I will not be cover all of them here. And you are welcome to try them out as it's shown there with these texts from line 39 to 61. Those are the detailed steps for you to import an image or a vector layer, as you can see there. So there you have it. This is how you can import and export image into Google Earth Engine and work with them. And in the next video, we will talk about image collections and how we can explore them. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.